Hello, eighth grade, and welcome back. Welcome back to Wildcat Wellness. And this is our seventh lesson in second step. This lesson is entitled My Path Forward. So, last week's lesson, we centered around, we were talking a lot about our future self. So, what we did was we looked at our future self and we envisioned what we're going to look like 10 years from now. And what we did was we created an identity map for ourselves. So at this time, I want you to pull out your identity map from last time. See if you can locate that from lesson number 6. I'll give you a little time to pull it out. So this lesson is going to be a little different. We're going to pull a lot from last week's lesson where we talked about what we're going to look like 10 years from now. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at our identity maps and we're going to envision a path we can take to become our best self. This is the last lesson in this particular unit, and you'll be drawing on everything you've learned to envision this path to an awesome future. So let's look at the first warm-up question. So all of these questions will be listed on your student handout. So at this time, you can pull out this week's student handout, and we're going to go over the questions as a class, and we're going to discuss them as a class. But let's look at the first warm-up question. The first warm-up question, I want you to think about this. If you can travel back in time 5 years, what's one piece of advice you'll give your younger self? So think about this question. You're going to write it on your student handout, and we're going to discuss it as a class, and I'll give you a little time to think about that question. Teacher, you may pause the video. Okay, as we move forward, I want you to imagine that your future self has sent you a gift. It's a drawing of the path you took to develop one of your interests, including the roadblocks you faced and how you overcome them with your strengths. So again, we're going to go back and we're going to look at our identity map that we created last time. And I really want you to reflect, or I want you to self-evaluate some of these questions. So let's look at these questions. But again, I want you to think about it. Did you name a future interest from last time? Did you do that? Did you describe how you use your strengths to develop that interest? Did you describe 1 or 2 roadblocks that you were faced with along the way? Did you describe what you did to get past those roadblocks? Did you name some people, some organizations, or some programs that help support you in developing your interests? And the very last question, did you describe your future self based on your interests? So let's look at our handouts, and we're going to check off what applied to us. And just think about those questions, and you're going to make check marks beside them. I'll give you a little time to work on those self-evaluation checklists. So let's look at the example of the worksheet that we're going to work on individually, and we're going to discuss it as a class. So let's look at charting your course. That's the second handout that was given to you by your teacher. So at the very top, you see, you're going to list what your future interests or what's your current interest. So if you're interested in music or ROTC or the military, or you're interested in performing arts, you're going to list it at the very top. The second question, how did you use your strengths to develop this interest? So you're going to answer that question. So this sample worksheet, this person said I use my skill in performing and my driven, outgoing personality to get better at my interest in music. So this is a really good example of how they use their strength to develop their interest. So you're going to write your answer in this first block. The second block, what roadblocks did you face along the way? So these things, remember I asked you in your self-evaluation checklist, did you even think about these things from last time? So we're going to answer the questions along the way, and I'm going to give you a little time to fill out the student worksheet. Okay, so let's look at the wrap-up question. And this is going to wrap up our lessons for Unit 1. So look at your future identity map and your path to your future self and answer this question. And you're going to write it in your student handout, on your student handout worksheet. What can you do to start or continue this journey from right now? What can you do to start or continue this journey? You're going to answer this question and we're going to discuss it as a class after you have written it on your student handout. Okay, we're concluding our lesson, our 7th lesson in Unit 1. And in this lesson, we focused on many different things. We focused on our current identities and on our interests and our strengths. We imagine how we can grow and change and use our strengths to pursue our interests. As we go through other second step units, keep your future self in mind and think about how you can use everything you learn in the program to support your best self. So our next unit will focus on bullying and harassment. You'll learn how to create a safe and welcoming school community for your friends, for yourself, and you'll be able to go to one another for support along the way. I can't wait to see you next Tuesday for Wildcat Wellness. Again, that will be beginning our Unit 2, and that Unit 2 will be focusing on bullying and harassment. I'll see you guys next time on next Tuesday, and have an awesome rest of the week.